What's up everybody, 40 the Broadway Saiyan here, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel, bringing you guys another video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. In today's video, I have a burst evaluation video for you guys. This time we're going to be taking a look at the burst and LD weapons for RAMZA and Ultimecia. Now if you guys don't remember, I did start this series about a few months back, and the last video that I did for this series was covering both Cloud and Furion's burst and LD weapons. I didn't put one out for the month of December, but I am going back to it, and the next one in this series is going to be for RAMZA and Ultimecia. As always with this series, what I do is I pretty much give you guys a summary of what these weapons do, and then whether or not if the burst weapon is actually worth having on the character. Now obviously, if you do happen to nail that burst weapon, you know, the character is going to be much better than just having the LD weapon. But for the most part, the LD weapon usually is what makes the character shine first. But there are some really good burst effects out there where you take a look at what they do and you're like, oh, maybe I do want that because that's a pretty powerful effect. So I'm going to give you guys my own personal evaluation, and for this one, again, it's going to be for RAMZA and Ultimecia. So, let's go ahead and take a look at our boy RAMZA from Final Fantasy Tactics. So, his LD weapon is going to be giving him a brand new ability called Iado Winterstorm. So, what RAMZA does is he's going to be doing 2 AoE Brave and AoE HP attacks delivered twice. It's going to have that standard effect of dealing more damage to a single target. He has Overflow. It's split HP damage. However, the big thing that this particular weapon does is it's a delay effect plus an auto launch effect rolled into one, which is really powerful. So he's going to delay all targets, and then he's going to auto initiate chase on the targeted enemy, and then afterwards on the next turn, the other target that didn't get targeted will automatically be launched as well with whatever type of damaging ability that you use on that target. So think of it as like Cloud's finishing touch having that effect of where the non-targeted enemy can automatically be launched after the skill is used. So that's pretty powerful. And then what this does is RAMZA is going to be giving himself, you know, 1 level of his shout, 1 level of his pep buff, which comes from his skill 1 and skill 2, and then afterwards he's going to get a brand new effect, and this effect lasts for 16 turns. So the effect is called Sunset Leaf Flute. He's going to be increasing the party's initial Brave, increasing the party's Brave overflow limit, and also is going to be providing a Brave regen based on 40% of initial Brave. And 40% is actually a pretty significant amount considering that he's already increasing the party's initial Brave with this special effect. So you can imagine how powerful the Brave regen can be with this particular effect. So all in all, RAMZA's LD ability is really strong. You have Chase, you have Delay, you have a really powerful effect with a really powerful Brave regen. And also, RAMZA's LD is going to be a very useful call ability as well if you are looking to take a an LD unit for a call, because he will be coming in with that Iado Winterstorm. You're going to get the launch, you're going to get the delay, and you're going to get the really cool benefits from that. So that's also something that you want to look out for. And RAMZA is also a valuable friend unit too. If you have friend units later down the line that have RAMZA set and they have that LD weapon, you could bet on having that access to the chase and the delay for at least 3 turns, because the thing is that RAMZA gets a total of 3 skill uses with his LD ability. So all in all, LD weapon is pretty strong. Now let's go ahead and talk about his burst. So his burst is going to be equipping him with Ultima, which is really cool because that was one of his last abilities as a squire in Final Fantasy Tactics. So RAMZA is going to be dishing out, you know, a very powerful AoE Brave plus HP attack, again dealing more damage to a single target. This time the HP damage is 100% across the board to all targets. It has that standard effect of a finish burst of having an increased Brave damage limit and also increased obtainable Brave and HP damage limit. Pretty much every burst effect or finish burst has that effect now. And then afterwards, the way that his burst effect functions is it lasts for 5 turns, and he's going to be increasing initial Brave, max Brave, and attack by 5%, depending on how many total buffs there are across the party. So for every buff that's active on your party, you're going to be getting that 5% increase to your initial max Brave and attack. So imagine if you have a total of 18 buffs, because that's the total amount of, like, you know, maximum amount of buffs you can have on your party. That's a 90% initial Brave increase, a 90% max Brave increase, and a 90% attack increase. Those are pretty significant numbers. Now, obviously, you have to set this up, so you definitely, if you pick up this burst weapon want to run Cloud with like another buffer, maybe somebody like Saz, for example, because Saz provides a lot of buffs to the party, so then you could take advantage of this very powerful burst effect. And then his other burst effect as part of this is he also increases the party's maximum brave damage limit by 2% per buff. So if you take into account, again, 18 buffs total, because it's 6 buffs that you can have total on a character, that's a 36% increase on the brave damage limit. So the burst effect is really strong. Now I will say that because that you need to set this up if you really want to fully benefit from it. Party composition is going to be key if you really want to take advantage of this burst effect, but all in all, it's a really strong effect. So for RAMZA, this is how I value his weapons. I definitely think he's perfectly fine with just the LD only. In my personal opinion, I think the burst weapon at this point is going to be more so a quality of life. It is really cool to have, but because of the setup that it requires for you to really benefit from it, where you need to have, as many buffs as possible on your party, I personally think it's still more of a quality of life. But if you get the burst alongside with his LD, it is going to make him better, obviously. But for me, I think the LD is the one that you want to gun for, and he's perfectly fine with just the LD alone, because you have the chase, you have the delay, and then you have that really powerful effect that he gets from it for 16 turns. So very, very cool weapons there for RAMZA. So now we're going to take a look at Ultimecia. So Ultimecia, we've seen her LD weapon before because it was released with her Lost Chapters. I will say, though, that she does get LD extension boards, and her LD weapon actually becomes a lot better, because what it'll do now is it'll have a gravity effect based on 25%. So she's going to reduce enemies brave by 25%, and then she's going to do 2 HP dumps this time, not just 1, so 2 HP dumps, and then she's going to have an extended turn duration from the special buff that she gets from it, the sorceress intervention. And then the biggest thing that she gets with the LD extension board for her LD ability is that she recovers 1 usage of her skill 2, which is the better version of the better skill that you want to have access to. So that's something that's very powerful that she gets with her LD extension board. So if you already have her LD weapon, just know that this character is going to get a better version of her LD skill when she gets her LD extension board. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about her burst. So her burst allows her to pretty much play with time. The animation's really cool. She gets access to Sorcerer's Heart. She's going to be dishing out a very powerful AoE magic brave attack with an AoE HP attack. Again, increased brave damage dealt to a single target, 100% HP damage dealt to all targets. She also gets the standard, finished burst effects, maximum brave damage limit increase, maximum obtainable brave and HP damage limit, yada yada yada. All these finished bursts have that, like I said before. And then the burst effect for this one is pretty cool. So remember Omnia, where Omnia can delete turns with their LD ability? Well, pretty much Ultimecia gets that effect with her burst. So for 3 turns, whatever skill you use with Ultimecia, she will be deleting their turns for 3 turns. So that's pretty cool that she's actually given that powerful burst effect. So for her burst weapon, I don't know. This one I feel like is another one that I feel like she should have. I mean, her LD does become better with the LD extension boards because of the 2 HP dumps, the gravity, the recovery of her skill 2. So that's already pretty good in itself. But this unique effect is really cool. And imagine pairing her with a mid-Italian, so they'll both be deleting turns. It's going to be pretty crazy. So for me personally, I think Ultimecia, you may want to gun for that burst weapon as well, especially if you already have the LD weapon. But if you decide not to, and you already have her LD weapon from pulling it from her Lost Chapters, and you just want to stick with the LD weapon, just know that the upgrade that she gets from her LD extension board is going to make her a lot more powerful as well, and you could probably get away without having the burst. But that burst effect is actually pretty cool. Now, before I end the video, I do want to show you guys which banners to expect to see these weapons featured on. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Alrighty guys, this concludes my burst evaluation video for both RAMZA and Ultimecia. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and mahal everyone.